You were in a relationship with someone that you see to be a dismissive avoidant. They break up with you, and the next thing you know, they're in a rebound relationship. Hey, what's going on, my beautiful people? This is Certified Life and Relationship Coach, Coach Court. In today's video, we're going to talk about 3 reasons why an avoidant will get into a rebound relationship. Thank you for sticking around. If this is your first time viewing me, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel by clicking that subscribe button and ringing that bell so you're notified for all the newest coaching content. Before I get into the content, if you want my help personally, the quickest way to get into contact with me is through my website or through my Patreon account. All of those links are in the description below. In today's video, we're going to talk about 3 reasons why an avoidant will get into a rebound relationship. And I know it's hurtful. I know that you've put all your energy into this person. You've really tried to show up for them, but you're wondering why they couldn't show up for you. And you know, you've come across YouTube, Coach Court channel, and you hear about dismissive avoidance and how they can pull away and some of the things that they do, their childhood experiences, but it doesn't make it an excuse in your eyes. So I wrote a quote about this on Instagram. If you guys want to follow me, my handle is I am Coach Court. And the quote goes, using another relationship to heal is about as useless as eating soup with a fork. Frustrating and unfulfilling. Let's get into the topic for today. We're going to talk about 3 reasons why an avoidant will get into a rebound relationship, and I wrote them down because I wanted to be impeccable with my word, like Don Miguel Ruiz says, be impeccable with your words. If you guys haven't read the 4 Agreements, I would recommend that book. You know, if you're someone that's anxious, that's trying to find something to do to keep your mind occupied, head over there. So the very first reason that they have expressed to me, and from something that I've kind of picked up on from working with so many people in the past, is they've grieved the relationship already due to some type of resentment that they have already formed for you. And most of the time, the resentment was something that they didn't communicate with you. Like there might have been something that you were doing, something that was annoying them, some way that you were showing up, and they didn't feel, quite safe or quite comfortable about what the future was going to look like with you guys. And once again, you know, if you're dealing with someone who's an avoidant, most of the time what they do is they'll just suppress their feelings. They'll kind of just bury it, and they'll talk themselves off the ledge in that moment. But what's happening is the resentment is solidifying to the point where they're going to, feel like this relationship isn't the one for me. I mean, it could be something so small as to like, if I'm being totally honest, loading the dishwasher. Now, you could be loading the dishwasher in a way that kind of makes them feel like, wow, why would you load the dishwasher that way? And it's not something that they would actually say. They would be thinking it, but they wouldn't exactly be expressing it. Sometimes they do, but for the most part, they don't. But if you're talking about more pressing issues where, like, if you're sitting on the couch with them and your phone's going off and you may be responding to a text message and you may look like you're being secretive about it, they won't express it. They won't come out and say, who you texting? What are you doing? They won't. They'll just sit back and think like, all right. And they'll keep letting that thing fester instead of like addressing the issue and coming to you and saying, hey, we're sitting here and we're hanging out together. I don't think it's real okay for you to be texting people. But they'll just, the second reason that they may get into a rebound relationship is because they had a really intense connection with you. And in the end, because of the breakup, they felt really hurt about it. Now, this is whether they decided to break up with you or whether you decided to break up with them. They still feel really, really hurt because they had this deep connection because, like I said before, they had you on this pedestal and you were able to be their equal. But then when things don't work out, they start to question their judgment on character, on the type of people that they decide to get into a relationship with. So a lot of the times I tell my clients when they felt like everything was going smoothly, where they were like, man, we weren't arguing. We didn't have any issues. Things was running smoothly. And we actually had situations and conversations where this person expressed to me like, I've never had this before. This is probably the strongest relationship I've had. It's probably the most communicative relationship, and all the things that, sounds like you're building some type of rapport, some type of strong connection. And you may have been. And I tell them, that's the problem. What happened was you flew too close to the sun and you got your wings clipped. Because once again, one of their core wounds is being vulnerable. And if they're being this vulnerable with you, and they start to feel like, all right, I don't know if this connection is going to work out. So what happens is instead of trying to take the time to get themselves to a state where they're okay with just being alone, if the connection was really strong, they're going to move on to someone else to kind of repress that, because that's one thing that they do. They repress the emotions that they're feeling. And some of the ways that they cope with it is they'll binge watch Netflix and they'll binge watch TV shows. They'll get themselves really busy with work, or they'll get into a rebound relationship. And this is something that they've expressed. And these are patterns that I've seen in the past when dealing with people who are dismissive or who have that type of attachment style. The third reason why they would get into a rebound relationship is to boost their ego, because they felt inadequate in the relationship with you. Now, if you were someone that was really showing up, one thing that you'll see is if you were like the perfect gift giver, if you were someone who was always mindful about where they're at mentally, you're showing up, you're consistent, you're feeling safe, you're feeling secure, and they don't feel the same way, they're wondering like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I show up that way? Why can't I be able to, know what their favorite or whatever is, food or something? Because they kind of like go into relationships on autopilot after the honeymoon phase passes. They kind of get on autopilot. And this is why a lot of times when you break up with them, they're kind of blindsided. They're like, whoa, what happened? Why? I thought we were going smoothly. Why did you break up with me? And, they'll accept it. But at the end of the day, they're still thinking like something must be wrong with that person because I thought I was showing up. So they'll get into a rebound relationship because the other person is going to be making them feel like, how people feel in the beginning of relationships, like everything that person does is perfect. And you want to know more about that person. They're interested in you. They're intriguing. So they will go get into those relationships in order to boost their ego up a little bit and feel like, well, I guess I wasn't so bad in a relationship because this person over here is telling me that, I don't know why your ex would say something about you that was, whatever. You plug in whatever story you want to say. But that's one of the reasons that they will get into a rebound relationship. And usually what I see is those relationships, they try to make last for as long as possible. Even if it turns unhealthy, even if it turns toxic right in the beginning, because you guys know I talk about this a lot on my channel. Rebound relationships, they last between 3 to 6 months, and they can go longer depending on how stubborn the person is and how much the person wants to protect their ego, because no one wants to confront the breakup. They don't want to make it look like they made a bad decision with getting into a relationship with another person right away. So they will stick with that person in order to, maintain, I guess, the lie or the ego or whatever you want to call it. But for the most part, those relationships don't end up working out. So I know that you guys are really struggling right now. I know that it's hurtful to see someone get into a relationship with someone else, especially if there's someone that's, a DA and you've been trying everything, binging YouTube videos, reading books. If you guys haven't read the book Attached, I would recommend that book by Amel Levine. It's co-authored by, I can't think of the name, but also if you're interested in the other book by Dr. Ralph Earl, I believe it is, the book Come Here, Go Away. That's a great book also. So if you found this video valuable, go ahead and click this link right here where I talk about if you should even try to reattract an avoidant if you're broken up. And if you want to reach out to me on my other social media accounts, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, as I am Coach Court. Always remember, when you go be love, you'll never have to find it. Namaste.